You know what I miss most about the 80s? The hair. Top Gun here with you folks, and I got a good one for you. I assume this is going to bring all the Bitcoin maxes to the yard. Guess what? My milkshake's better than yours. Yep, that's right. I think the death of Bitcoin could occur in 15 years or less. And that was when I made the episode and I made a math mistake. A pretty big one for me. Um, I don't even wrap myself out on it. I was like, terawatts? Oh, that means kilowatt, gigawatt, terawatt. I completely forgot about megawatt. Kilowatt, megawatt, gigawatt, terawatt. That's a big difference of 1,000 kind of in here. So I'm going to pull up some math. That's right, we're going to look at some math. Untitled spreadsheet. So I had to do a whole bunch of digging around here. And let's just delete this row. We don't need it. Delete column. Bye-bye. All right. So, and let's get rid of some decimals on that. Goodbye. This is the number of years. This is the price of electricity in kilowatt hours in China. This is the price of Bitcoin. This is how many Bitcoin were mined in 2021. And we'll put that price at 69,000 just to make sure no one gets too angry here. So this was the number of Bitcoin that were mined. Now, basically I was breaking out individual systems, but we don't really need those. We really don't. They're not going to do a whole lot for us. Goodbye. The weakest link. So what we need to know is 110 terawatt hours. Okay. So times by 1,000, so 110,000. Let's put some commas in here. That's terawatts. That's how many gigawatts. So how many megawatt hours? Oh, all right. So how many kilowatt hours? There we go. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. So this should be equal to this. Now, I'm going to explain some of this math because I already went ahead and built it. And I'm redoing this episode because I want it to be right. So, delete column. Delete column. Delete column. So this number here that is so big for the system. What happened to this? Oh, I deleted its reference. So that was 110. That's terawatts. And that would be gigawatts. That would be megawatts. And that is kilowatt hours. So I looked up some interesting facts. So Bitcoin wanted to know how much electricity was used a year by the network. And that is estimated by Cambridge, I think, or Bentley, by at 110 kilowatt or terawatt hours. Here, how much power does it take to mine Bitcoin? Let's take the word A out of there. Okay. Estimates. Here we go. According to Cambridge, 110 terawatts hours per year. Okay, so this calculates for us here. Shrink this down a little bit. So the amount of electricity it requires to mine Bitcoin will never change. That's a constant. All right. So basically, again, this is the price of kilowatt hours. If this is how many kilowatt hours, we multiply that by this price to get that. That's right. In case you need to see it again, I can do it out. This is equal to the price times the kilowatt hours. I shortcutted a lot of time because I explained how to calculate kilowatt hours before. So we look at this. And so what was this one again? D4 times C4. So the price times the number. This is the total amount of money that could be made mining Bitcoin last year if it was all sold at 69,000 to maintain its operating price. That means $398 million. No wonder, almost $400 million. Very profitable. $8.6 million to operate. G4 times, B4. That's how much money it costs to operate. Now, over here, so this is electricity cost. This is total kilowatt hours. All right. Profit from mining. Energy cost. This is size of liquidity pool. Alright, now this I have to cut from there. I have to put that there. Because that is the current amount of liquidity at this price of 20,000. So the current price and the current year's total mineable means all of a sudden 57,000. So what we actually would even want to see here, this number should equal total amount for mining minus the electricity cost. So I was really polite with the price of electricity, and what I did was take the current price and multiply it by 1.025, or 2.5% inflation per year to the price of electricity. That's it. Keeping that nice and mediocre. Now, current price is 20 grand. I think it's even got to go to 10 grand. Oops. If I didn't put any extra symbols in there. And then, okay. Did I do this wrong? F4. It's 398 million minus, oh, whoa, no, $8 billion? Did I miss something here? That can't already be at a negative. That's already running at a deficit? No way. What price did you guys need to make the network profitable again? Whoa. Whoa. This can't be right. Really? A terawatt hour. One E9. Yup. Kilowatt times 3 zeros. So that's a 3 out of the 9. That's megawatts. 3 more zeros. That's 6. That gets us to giga. More. That gets us to tera. Okay, so the entire network used roughly this much electricity at roughly this price per kilowatt hour is $8.6 billion in electricity cost. No way. It can't already be at a negative. Could that really be the amount of power an entire year used to mine Bitcoin? Because it would have cost at least this much. That is 110 billion kilowatt hours. Even at 8 cents, that's 8 billion. That would indicate that it was very unprofitable to run. See, I had made a mistake originally, and I forgot the conversion. I jumped. And I mean, that suggests profitability. But the kilowatt hours, or terawatt, back. Terawatt hours per year, not just terawatts, terawatt hours per year. So that's already calculated. Bitcoin currently consumes that much electricity. That much electricity costs 8 billion. The total mined 400 million. That's not a good sign, folks. It really is not a good sign. This is really, I was thinking it was going to die by year 15. This is so cute. Let's take 3 zeros off that. Like, there we go. So yeah, the way I was looking at it, requiring less power. So the total amount of mined Bitcoin in the year was this. So the total profitability, if it was all sold at the top, could have been that. But the cost of electricity means it was already unprofitable to mine it. That's just blowing my mind. That is blowing my mind. It's making me wonder. I must be making a mistake here. I must be making a mistake here. Wow. Yeah, price of electricity in China. December 2021 for last year. For businesses, even more for businesses. Is electricity cheap in China? 15% lower than the United States. Just 15% lower. Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, it's more expensive in a lot of other places. China's cheap on electricity. Oh yeah, there's the yuan price. But wow. Can I really be reading this right? Because before I was trying to actually maintain the liquidity pools. We'll drop this all out. Delete. This is the current amount of locked liquidity for this rough price. I believe it was 19,750. So 2022, 2021. Could it really have not been profitable to mine? I mean, if it used that much electricity, a lot of people lost money trying to burn. Like, this makes sense because not everyone that runs a machine gets to win this Bitcoin. So, wow. If it used that much electricity, it cost that much money. And that is not the right amount of electricity because it used that much. $8 billion. This is blowing my mind because this really suggests that Bitcoin is already operating at a loss here. I thought that this was going to be coming up in the future where it got too expensive to mine Bitcoin. This isn't what it's actually required to take the network, even though this is what they used. That's what I'm thinking. So, wow, I'm going to have to do even more math on this to find out the minimal viable electrical cost to run. Because using that much electricity would have cost that much. Wow. Yeah. And I'm like, I believe Cambridge. If they wanted to do information, I believe Cambridge in their studies. So the price, we know. Yeah. This is kind of really scary, folks. And this is, yeah, the number of Bitcoin times the price of Bitcoin. Wow. Could it really have run at a negative? And I mean, what price does it need to be to run at a positive here? What price do we have to get to in 2023? What about 10 million? 10 million. All right. That made it profitable. Does 5 million do it? Nope. Nope, because of the halving. Wow. All right. We need $7 million. Not 700,000. Gotta add a zero. Thank you, computer. All right, we've got back into profitability. 6 million wasn't enough. 7 is enough for profitability. That's so cute. All right, 6800 000. Yeah, that's still profitable. What about 65? 65. All right. 62. Nope. So let's leave that at 65. Wow, that is a 100x from this price, and this is almost a 4x from this price. All right, so some quick math here to see exactly how much the liquidity pool has to change. All right, wow. So this divided by original. This is how you figure out the change in a liquidity pool. Now, once you know the change in a liquidity pool, you can do the square root of that number. All right. And that is how many times bigger the liquidity pool has to get to equal that number. So this times this. Wow. That's what it has to do to get back into profitability according to this. That is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing that it used this much, because I was calculating the individual miners and an individual company. This makes a little more sense. Uses 1,000-watt machines. Maybe they have 1,000 of these 1,000-watt machines. And kilowatt hours is 24 hours, your runtime, times 30 days a month, times 12 months, roughly. Or I could just multiply it by 360. Or no, yeah, I needed the hours, so 365 by the 24 would be more accurate. So let's do it. 365. There. So this is our run hours, and this is the number of machines, or number of watts, number of machines, runtime of hours. So in order to get your kilowatt hours, you need the total wattage, total number of appliances, times the total running. Now, funny enough, is divided by 1,000 to get your kilowatt hours. This is the kilowatt hours of your average mining business individually per year. So, there we go. So let's find out here what percentage that is. So if we take this number and divide it by the total amount, ooh, that is a really low percentage. Really low. Let's turn it into percent. Give it some more decimal places. Wow, not even a full percent. So this would indicate that one mining business, this is the amount of kilowatt hours. So this will equal the kilowatt hours times the price of electricity. And this is how much that costs, which is $500,000 for one company to run the electricity, which makes up not even 1% of the network. Wow. So if I want to see how many of these there has to be, we do this number now divided by the smaller number, and wow. All right. Did I divide that by the right one? Yeah, because I wanted the total kilowatt hours divided by the one mining system's kilowatt hours. Wow, this would imply that that's why so much electricity was spent. Wow, that can't be right. Am I doing something wrong here again? G18. Okay, good. Divided by I-23. Yeah, if we're using 8 million kilowatt hours at 110 billion, wow. Wow, that's, yeah, wow, less than a full percent. See, when I divide this by this, it tell me how many of these individual businesses would be acquired. 12,500 different mining businesses competing is why that much electricity got used. Were all of those essential to the network, or can some of those be reduced? So, really, this is each individual running cost as opposed to total energy costs. Wow. 8 billion versus half a million. Give you guys an idea, half a million times 1,000 is still only 600 million. That still doesn't even match up to the cost. So yeah, having a look, and this is the question: how much of this network needs to be running? Because a lot of miners were apparently losing money because there was not enough Bitcoin to pay for all the electricity that went into mining it. So this would already indicate that it's becoming less profitable. Wow, and that's profit for every miner, so people can continue losing money at mining. Wow, this just blows my mind. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. And then from this point on, in order to make it profitable for all the miners, the equation is pretty simple. But wow. I mean, I think 100,000 is really reaching it. Like, how many people are losing at mining here? This blows my mind. Wow. And that would be closer to 4 billion in liquidity. You'd only have to double. Wouldn't be so scary if I put all the numbers in. That would be the liquidity at 100,000 for a coin, but it would still be highly unprofitable for most miners. That is so gross. Because this tells you what can be bought, but that, wow. So each mining company, as it stands, with about 1,000 computers, wasn't even a full percent of that electricity use. Oh wait, I changed this 2%. That's right. So the one should be on this side of the decimal. That's why that percentage was looking. That's so small, each business. So there's a lot of people competing, trying to make it, but that amount of electricity is insane. I mean, the amount of miners literally needs to decrease by 1,000 times. Wow. Yeah, and I didn't really think it would get back up to 50, so I had some fun doing some price speculations. But then this is where I had tried to balance it out so it was profitable again. All you can make is 18 million. I mean, each individual miner, if they can actually win all the Bitcoin each day and earn it, wow. You need multiple miners. So, like, that makes more sense. The Bitcoin per miner that can be earned per day for block writing. This is so scary. This is where it's so energy inefficient, so many people competing, and I'm looking at just the cost of electricity, which they have to sell these Bitcoin into the system against the liquidity instead of adding money. which makes it harder to get the price up. This is just insane. Looking at the whole network as a whole, it was unprofitable, massively unprofitable. That's just sickening. Sickening. And yeah, to get up here, in order to get to that price, you need roughly 40 billion in liquidity with Bitcoin. Not even kidding. In order to get 100x in price against the liquidity pool, you need to 10x the amount in that liquidity. That's just insane here. Insane. All this is showing me, like, I was going to try and come to the defense of when this becomes not profitable. And this is where how much can the network be downsized. I'm going to have to do a lot more math and actually look at the minimal operating computers winning. And I mean, there's people competing because it's proof of work. But at what point does it no longer become profitable to compete? You've got to pay for equipment, building, electricity. So, I mean, you've got rent or construction fees. You've got people to maintain it, new hardware, plus electricity costs. Wow. Wow, it takes a lot of cost to run Bitcoin to a point where, I mean, if it really cost this much, there wasn't even enough in the liquidity if all the Bitcoin was sold to pay for the entire electricity costs. So many people lost money trying to mine Bitcoin. That's what that means to me. That Bitcoin mining is highly unsuccessful. Like, my God, that's the electricity costs of last year. Because this was the price of electricity in China last year. This was the amount of Bitcoin mined. This was the total profit if they sold at the top at that price. The amount of kilowatts. And this was the electricity cost, which doesn't even anywhere near make up for the profit from mining. Because I think Bitcoin can have a lot of struggles. I don't think it can keep up. Like, oh my God. Really, 15 years. 15 years, $51 million for your token. $40 billion in locked liquidity, roughly. And you'd only make 18 million. Still would not even remotely compensate for the amount of electricity. Now, as long as individual miners can keep making it, so I mean, when I looked at basically how much Bitcoin can be mined per day, I think it's per system. Basically, it worked out to 0.02 Bitcoin. That's what it worked out to per year from a system. But if this much was given out in the entire year, well, take this number and divide it by this little number, and it gets bigger. A lot bigger. Did I use a comma instead of a period? I did. That tells me that's how many systems had to be competing. Alright, so this is if we're using 1,000 systems. If we change that to 100, whoa, that's way off from the number. What I'm trying to do to figure out here some averages is get these numbers to match. So 125,000 way too much. Or, alright, 1,000 too little. So let's try 500. That's pretty close. Okay, 550. Wrong direction. 450. Alright, that matches pretty close here. So, I mean, it said each company can have between 100 to 1,000 computers. So, if we average those out at 450, Your average Bitcoin mining company uses 1/3 of $1 million of electricity, and there are 27,000 of them to use up that much electricity. And really, to make 2 Bitcoin per miner, 28,000 of them need to be running if that's all each computer can make in its transaction. I gotta do some more math checking on this because this looks absolutely insane. It really does. Maybe I need to understand Bitcoin better because something is definitely hinky and jinky here. Because I trust this number of the amount of electricity used. And if each individual business is running like this, then out of the total, 1%, 0.1%, 0.01%, 0.003, there you go. Each business could only be that much of the electricity use. That's insane. That is really, really insane. I wonder if that is accurate. Gotta double check these because, yeah, that would imply some brutality, some real brutality here. Let's have a look here. So, equals profit of mining divided by that. And that's when it was at 69,000 for those total Bitcoin mined. That basically tells me, like, and I can do it the same way where, alright, we'll take the price and multiply it by each computer. So I don't know how many of these computers can win in a business. I'm assuming they're going to want to have several, but oh look, the numbers match. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So that's the amount that each computer could be earning worth of Bitcoin a year. Times 450. I mean, if all of your computers were successfully in your business winning. We want to see financial. Perhaps we'd like to see accounting, $sign. Yeah, so 6 million could have gone in total to this business if all 450 were winning. If only one was winning, all they got was this, and their power bill was this, which means you need to take this number from their power bill and you divide it by the total amount each computer could win. This is not a financial number. This is roughly the number of their computers just to break even, not counting any other costs, out of their 450 that needed to be winning. So there's a lot of competition, and a lot of these businesses are going to have to go bankrupt and bust, I guess, because this is already running in not profitable territory for this many total kilowatts. I know that it requires like maybe 300 computers or maybe 1,000. How many miners or how many validators does it take? About 12,000 validating computers. That's what it requires? That's their no wonder. Oh my god, no wonder. Oh my god, no wonder. 12,000. That's 28,000. That means there's... Whoa. It's not even 2.3 times. So... Wow. Alright. if this indicates that there's this many, roughly, businesses in here and 12,000 of them are required. Wow. 12,000 computers are required at any given time to maintain that network. All right. Let's forget an individual mining. This is the minimal sustainability. Then, in my opinion, the minimal sustainability. Wow. Wow, 12,000. So, this is the cost of kilowatt hours, I think. This is just the kilowatt hours. Yeah, below it's the cost. So 8 million was the minimal required threshold to make this network run worth of electricity. So technically, that's funny. All right, so there are, wow, 1,000 times the minimal threshold required. So the minimal threshold of electricity is a lot closer to this. And some of these years are not profitable using these numbers. And some of these years are profitable, but again, 15 years. And you need $51 million Bitcoin. Oh wait, that's a that's 1,000x. Right. Okay, so that means we're gonna need closer to 128. That's million there, isn't it? Yeah, that's million. That's how much liquidity, roughly. I mean, I can start actually doing these numbers in the calculator instead of just approximating them, but that's an insane amount of liquidity, guys. 5 million, not 51 million, 5 million. Like, wow, in 15 years, you won't even be able to, you won't even be able to mine the entirety of Bitcoin, won't be able to mine a full Bitcoin in 14 years. And the electricity costs, minimum for the network, will still be $12 million at that point. So yeah, in order to make this profitable, because like at $12 million a coin, you don't run profitability for the essential portion of the network. The 12,000 machines you need to validate. No wonder it uses so much electricity. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just, oh my god. Just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I'm still absorbing this one. Still absorbing it. Yeah. The minimum required kilowatt hours of the system. It used 1,000 times what it needed for the minimum. It still blows my mind. And yeah, I can stick now. So it's funny how my wrong math was more right to begin with. I went back and redid it, hardy har har, but at least I'm accurate this time around. Accurate-ish. There we go. So again, I still see major issues where I don't think you guys can get to these prices. I don't think you realize what it requires to the liquidity pool. I mean, you can only 4x price every time you double liquidity. And I think that we're heading for 10K. Before you get your parabolic shift up. Parabolic. Sorry. Wow. Alright. That is just insane, folks. Absolutely insane. And I can do, yeah, I think this was delta shift, figure out the price changes and calculate the exact liquidity if you want to see. But I mean, I'm not expecting great things for Bitcoin. But yeah, how soon will it die? How long will it no longer be profitable for the core required network? Forget all the other people in it. Forget all the people that were losing money trying to compete. Just the people that are required. Bare minimum 12,000 computers. Not even the competing computers, the minimum running computers. And those systems will be computing systems. They'll be 1,000 watts, and you can divide that out for the kilowatts. So just this number times this number equals that number. That's insane. It's insane. And it's insane that there was that much electricity used. Oh, I'm going to have to do some more research. But all in all, it gets very expensive to continue running electricity for this network. And that's the minimums. Like, there was $8 billion in electricity used last year. There was not $8 billion in profit. A whole bunch of people were unprofitable already. But the core minimum threshold of the network. How long can you guys keep it up? I mean, it's taken 12 years or 13 years to get that much money raised up in the liquidity pool, balanced out with the Bitcoin. And you just nonchalantly in 18 years are like, yeah, man, we can get another 100 billion. Or in another 15 years. You know, what we've already done. Yeah, we can get 100 billion. We got a billion. We can get 100 billion. I don't know. Maybe you can. But it's old tech. It's incredibly slow. It's energy inefficient. Hex is so much better because you don't pay miners, and then the miners don't sell. You got to remember this profit from mining. Take this number plus that number. That was in the liquidity pools. They sell down. And so you're trying to beat the sell pressure and get more just to make the tokens worth enough to sustain the network. That is insane. Absolutely insane. And I mean, in 5 years, if you dip below 20,000, the core network is 20,000 is still too low. You, in 5 years, better never on the next way back down. Like, my God. Current price next year, parabolic, then your correction. That's an 80% correction. If that happens, the core network becomes unprofitable. Well, golly gee. You better not have that kind of correction back down in order to make it profitable next year. Oh yeah, we have to more than double. Can't. We got to get to 80,000. There's some profitability, but you better get up to 100,000. Oh, that's not even profitable. Oh, but 400,000 is. Like, my God, guys, my God, you got some problems. So this needs to be 200,000. Now that is a 10x in this price, which means your liquidity must be roughly 3.3 times this. 3.333333. That's how much liquidity you need to raise to get to 200,000 and keep it profitable by year 7. And then you've still got these people selling off, and you've got to raise against that sell-off. Oh me, oh my. You guys really won't be able to take any corrections down. Like, you're literally fighting for your life for this price. If the Bitcoin's not worth enough to sell off to maintain the network, it stops functioning. What, they're going to just spend the power bills for free? Drop all this money for free while not making a profit? I don't think so. Adapt or die, Bitcoin. This is why, I asked for an iPhone parents for Christmas. They get me a boombox, a paper map, a compass, one of those big hefty duty walkie talkies, and they wrap it all together with a paper calendar and go, "Here's your iPhone." No, that's obsolete tech. I want an iPhone. This is this is the problem is inherent in the Bitcoin system, and Hex does not have this problem. The inflation isn't capped to half down. It's at a very polite, constant amount. It goes to the people who promise not to sell, not the people who are promising to sell. These people must sell to pay their electricity bill. This is going in Hex, it goes to the people who promise not to sell, to hold the price up. And Hex runs on Ethereum, which is moving to proof of stake, which is a lot more energy efficient. So you don't have to sell Hex to run the network. It just runs on Ethereum. Ethereum miners have to worry about that. And miners are changing. Oh, and then Pulse Chain is going to come. It's going to be even faster, even more energy efficient. And really not going to have this problem. Running better Bitcoin, aka Hex. So these are the inherent issues in Bitcoin. They really are. And yeah, wow. Wow, the core network. Some people are sure, because I'm not a Bitcoin fan, I don't know a whole lot about it, and I just whipped this together. Because I knew eventually, with a halving, you get less and less Bitcoin. The price must keep doubling, or you start making less and less and less revenue. And at a certain point, because energy costs keep going up, it'll no longer be profitable to run the network. So any of these bracket years, with what I've got going on here, I should have a big red symbol in it. Red for dead. It's not good. Another negative here. Because you didn't get high enough. It's got to be 200,000, man. People are going to keep buying it. We're going to get even more mania. Why? Why are they going to keep buying it? It's slow. There are too many people on the network. You can only do 7 transactions per second. 7 people can use this thing a second. I see some math on how many people can use it per day, because Visa can do 24,000 transactions in a second. 7 equals 7 times 60 seconds times 60 minutes times 24 hours. That's the maximum number of transactions per 24-hour period that Bitcoin can do. And that sounds impressive, 604,000. But 1 million people using the network, well, that means you can't. That's all the transactions, all the people that can use it in a single day. Wow. How many users does Bitcoin have? $180 million users. Oh, and that's what it took to get this liquidity, 180 million users. There are only 8 billion people on the planet. 10 times the amount of users would be 1.8 billion. So even if you could get 10 times the amount of users, do you think they have all that money to dump in? That would only 10 times the liquidity if you got to that many users. 18 billion in liquidity, and that's, I'm not worrying about Metcalfe's law or any of that other jazzy stuff. Wow, 18 billion. So the price, price at 2 million roughly. 2. That was just barely profitable. 200 million. All right. Wow. All right. So, in order to get your price to 2 million, $20 billion in liquidity. Theoretically, 1.8 billion users. So 8 billion people, even if they were really able to muster it up, that's only 4 times that. 80 billion. and everyone on the planet would own Bitcoin already. Buy more Bitcoin, pay our electricity. Suddenly, it's no longer a sustainable system. So, really, in 15 years, even if you got everyone on the planet using Bitcoin, you're not guaranteed to have $128 billion in the liquidity pool. And so you're not guaranteed to have your $51 million. And remember, 12 million the year before looks like wasn't profitable. Whoa. You guys need to literally take world domination of 15 years or your network collapses. And then what after you take world domination and there's no one left? Literally no one left to buy Bitcoin. And it keeps halving. And the economic pressure has to keep doubling. And suddenly the unsustainability long-term of Bitcoin is painfully clear. So I am sure, come fight me, Bitcoin maxis. You're going to come teach me something about Bitcoin. That's all right. You can give me accurate numbers because you hate this. I'll run them through Excel and tell you what they mean. That's right. Come fight me, Bitcoin maxis. Let's do some math together. I want to see how long your network can survive. Fun times. Because I really don't think it'll survive long. And when it goes, there'll be probably a bit of loss of faith in networks. But hopefully they'll realize that's because it was no more profitable to run. Not because crypto is bad. Wow. I'm glad I redid this video. I'm really glad I redid this video. So many more interesting facts to look at. Interesting numbers. Fun with numbers. There's nothing simple about this math today. Well, there is for me. Obviously, I whipped it together. But you guys, thank you for sitting through it. You definitely get a gold star again. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this. And I normally say don't share this with anyone, keep your little secret, but hey, tag a Bitcoin maxi you despise. I'm up for it. Challenge down. How long you think your Bitcoin can last, Mr. Sailor? I'll have you live on air and run Excel with you. No one's going to take me on that challenge. Bring it, Bitcoin maxis. Maybe that's what I should call this video. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, folks. And until next time, stay frosty.